All right, welcome, kings and queens. We're back, y'all, and we are talking Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams. So she went to court a few days ago last week, and y'all, the judge, dear judge, you have your damn nerve. This judge, this white judge, and this white appointed guardian, y'all, I don't know. It is something really. It's something off about it. Let me not even try to clean the shit up because there's something off about it. Because in a heated guardianship hearing, first of all, what you mad for? Why are y'all so mad and heated? It's not your money. It's a guardianship hearing. Why does this judge and this guardian have so much disdain for Wendy Williams? You're not going to believe what the judge had the freaking audacity to say during Wendy's guardianship hearing. They said she looked at Wendy. She gave a little bit of a clout. Just gave her a little bit of clout, right? Regarding all of the hard work that Wendy has done over the past years. And she looked at at Wendy Williams and told her, your career is over. Forget about it. It's done. You got your damn nerve, Miss White Lady. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I would have whatever I've been diagnosed with, it would have been gone that day. Cause I would have looked at her and baby, I would have let have. We're gonna talk about it. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
All right, y'all. So I pulled this article from It's Only Entertainment, and according to the article, the legal battle over Wendy Williams's guardianship took a bizarre and an emotional turn last week as a judge declared to Wendy, the former daytime talk show host, that she had no future in showbiz. First of all, ma'am, it ain't none of your damn business. Your job is to sit there and cite the laws, the rules, and the regulations regarding my guardianship. My career, what I've done in the past, what I'm trying to do now, should not be any of your concern. Not any of your concern. This really gives me a lot of concern for Wendy Williams. I really feel like these white women see her as an opportunity, and I just believe they're going to bleed her dry. They're going to bleed her dry. I believe this is a system that has been in place for quite some time. And if somebody doesn't step in, or when they do step in, it may be too late. It's giving pyramid. It's giving. They really do not like Wendy Williams. And I'm concerned that the judge is impartial to her, right? And not in a good way. But because of her disdain and her dislike, and because Wendy Williams is quote unquote bucking the system, I really feel like they would down the line, when there's not so many eyes on Wendy, they're gonna retaliate. They're gonna retaliate. A few years ago, I attended a women's conference with over 40,000 in attendance. One of the keynote speakers there happened to be Brene Brown. If you don't know who it is, look it up, right? If you have the time, look it up. So as she began to get into the interview, they were talking about relationships amongst women and just different things regarding how we as women as a whole can bridge the gap. Brene said something that was so true, and it shook the room. She said, there's an elephant in the room that nobody's talking about. And the elephant in the room is there's a historical hate towards white women to Black women, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody will talk about it. Everybody's afraid to touch it. We sweep it under the rug and we pretend that it does not exist. This, in my opinion, what's happening to Wendy Williams is a prime example of the historical hate that still exists from white women to Black women. From white women to Black women. You don't like her. You can't stand her. You're punishing her every chance she gets. You're treating her as if she's an animal and or a slave, all because you want her money, in my opinion, which I believe. A guardianship, you know what? I understand it if it's done properly. But you are treating her as if she is a slave and a bona fide criminal. And I can't help but to question and wonder why nobody has stepped in. And I appreciate all of the work that Harvey Levine has done on the behalf of Wendy Williams. I appreciate all of the interventions that they're trying to do. But how come the court and the justice system has turned a blind eye? What the hell is really going on? These white women seem to be punishing Wendy Williams. And according to multiple sources with direct knowledge who spoke to TMZ, Williams appeared in court last Thursday, y'all, before Judge Lisa Sokoloff, who didn't hold back. They said the judge didn't hold back. During the hearing, the judge reportedly scolded Williams' niece, Alex, accusing her of leaking information to the press and warning of potential sanctions. I call it retaliation if it happens again. Ma'am, why the fuck do you care? Because it makes you look bad? And what kind of sanctions? Why is Wendy being used as if she's a science project? And if you talk to the press and if you allow them, if you say this and this and that, then you know what? We're going to punish. We're going to come down with some sanctions. What are we hiding? But the courtroom tension didn't stop there. Sources says that the Judge Sokoloff, and harshly criticized members of Wendy's family, dismissing them as unfit influences in her life. I think they're trying to run this lady crazy. You can't tell me differently that they are not trying to or attempt to drive Wendy crazy. I don't understand the disdain. Then, in an unexpected and emotional moment, the judge reportedly shifted the conversation. The judge, y'all, shifted the conversation to Wendy's career. While acknowledging her past success, Sokoloff allegedly told Wendy directly, "It's done." I don't like that. That gives me grave concern. Because what do you have cooking in the crock pot? What do you have stirring up that you're going to make sure I'm done? Because that's an affirmative. That's a fact when you say it like that, Miss Judge. So are you out to purposely destroy this woman's career when your focus should be primarily the guardianship, nothing else? Not her career, not her aspirations, her personal relationships. Why are they trying so hard to not allow this woman to go to dinner with the people of her choice? If Wendy wants to work, allow her to work until she can't work. I don't understand what the hell is happening. I don't like how these women are treating her. I don't like how they're tag teaming her. And every time, or as much as I can, when new evidence comes out, I am going to share it publicly. I'm going to keep talking about this. I don't feel or believe that these women have her well-being at the forefront of their minds. I think you want her money. I think you're jealous that you're about the same age. She looks better than you. She has more money than you. She's still in her right frame of mind, even though you say otherwise, and you're having a hard time taking her down. You thought it would be an easy fight. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. It's called Black Girl Magic. That's what it's called, okay? But anywho, it goes on to say, according to the sources, the judge went on to say that Wendy has had a great run, but would never work again. Y'all, as if she's a workhorse, a racehorse, a retired horse, an animal. Okay, that's great. You've had a great run, but you're never going to work again. According to who, ma'am? And why not? What are the stipulations in this guardianship that will give you the audacity to say she'll never work again? The statement stunned those present and has left fans questioning the future of the beloved TV personality who has been dealing with health and legal challenges for the past few years. No public statement has been made yet by Williams or her representatives regarding the judge's comments. I think it's sick. I think it's disgusting, and I don't think they'll be able to say anything because when this person or these types of people have complete, utter control over your finances, over your freedom, and they have threatened sanctions, if you dare speak up for yourself as a Black woman or anybody that's tied to you, I don't know, Wendy. I don't know. They've placed you in a very, very sensitive situation. But let's go on to see what TMZ had to say about it.
At the end of the hearing, this judge first basically said Wendy's family was terrible, and then looks at Wendy and says, you know, you had a great career. Your career is over. It is never coming back. You're done. Why would a judge say that?
And what is the relevance to what they're actually there for? It just seemed mean-spirited.
Totally.
The way
Totally.
it was relayed to us, because
And by the way,
wasn't really necessary for the conversation that was going on.
and by the way, the judge doesn't know what she's talking about. Wendy Williams is a hot commodity right now. I can tell you from our Tubi documentary.
Whether she is or not, right? That's a very personal statement. It's very inappropriate. It's out of bounds. It's out of line and has nothing to do with the reason that they are in court.
It attracted a lot of attention. She's done interviews with major outlets. People are interested in her. So the idea that the judge would even say it, she's just wrong. But the fact that she'd say it is unbelievable.
It's called, the fact that she'll say it like that out loud is called white privilege. And she knows she can get away with it because she's a white woman that happens to be a judge. Let's talk about the historical hate that exists between white women and black women. She said the shit because she can. That's it. So don't try to make sense out of nothing that really don't make sense when we're dealing with systemic privilege that's in place. And she feels like she's God. Listen, I've gotten away with what I've gotten away with thus far regarding Wendy Williams, her money. Okay, let's not talk about the Guardian that's utilizing her money allegedly to pay for her own legal fees. So she said the shit because she can.
It's sickening, honestly, just listening to you guys and hearing what you just said. You know, from the issuance of a gag order, which we'll get to in a second, which is illegal, okay, to the statements, if true, that were made by this judge, you know, in a court proceeding that has nothing to do with Wendy's career. Moreover, that were made in front of Wendy Williams. If true, that is outrageous, because this judge, one, she's not in the entertainment industry, so I don't know where she would get off opining about that and why that's even relevant to her role.
She got off because she has disdain. She could be jealous or envious of Wendy. Who knows? But she wants to make sure that she goes on record, because that shit's on record. If she said it, y'all, allegedly, right? That's on record. To utilize her power, her influence to disrupt anything that could possibly be coming down the pipeline on the behalf of Wendy Williams. For anybody that's even thinking about doing anything, sliding her a favor, putting her on a project, she's going ahead. She's creating a smear campaign to say it's done.
Role as a judge, who's basically the judge of the law, and in this case, judge of the facts. And why she's not a neurologist either. I mean, clearly, and someone who should be opining on whether Wendy Williams has the capability to get better and become But I will tell you, I've spent time with Wendy this week, and I've spoken to Wendy, Harvey, as you have. You know, I'd say hundreds of hours over the last several months, and I will tell you, she's as Wendy Williams as she was 10 years ago. She's as Wendy Williams as she was when she had one of the best shows in television. She's absolutely capable.
I don't care if she was or if she isn't. Show me the law when you've been diagnosed with whatever you've been diagnosed with that you cannot work. You're not allowed to go to dinner. It doesn't matter if she's as sharp as she was 10 years ago or 10 minutes ago, right? The fact of the matter is, why is her freedom, her First Amendment rights? Is that the First Amendment rights? Or is that freedom of speech? Yeah, why is her, let me look, child, make sure I'm not saying the wrong thing. Give me 1 second. Okay, I knew I was right, but I just like to make sure, because, you know, as you age, sometimes you got to go back and fact check, because I don't want them bothering me like they bother Wendy Williams. But why is her First Amendment rights guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution? Her fundamental freedoms are being denied. Freedom of speech, the press, right? The right to petition the government, which is you, ma'am, Miss Federal Judge or whatever you are. Is she federal or state? I need to go back and fact check myself. But the point is, how come she can't talk to the media? How come she's not allowed to work? Is this a guardianship trial, or is this a death sentence that's being issued to her as a slow burn? I don't know. I don't like it, but let's continue.
Of hosting a talk show or doing whatever she wants to do. I mean, she is there. She's got her wherewithal. And for someone to say that her career is over when they're a judge, judging her is really a display of a bias. If I were her lawyer yesterday in that court proceeding and she'd said that judge in front of my client, I would have stood up there with fury. And I would have said, first of all, I would have objected to that statement because it's totally improper coming from the court, totally improper. But moreover, it's made without a basis in knowledge, and it's made without a medical background and without education. And so I would have lost my mind, honestly, if that had been said.
Me too, sir. I mean, that judge would have had to answer, or I would have appealed something. I don't know what I would have done, but I wouldn't have sat. Who is Wendy's attorney? Hell, they may be in cahoots with the judge and the guardian.
To my client or in my client's presence, if I were there yesterday, it's disgusting.
This is just crazy.
Why?
What about it? And Joe, help me out in this gag order thing. It's like, why is there a gag order in a guardianship case?
I've never heard of one, okay?
That's because they're stealing her money. If you ask me, fuck it. I said it. I believe there's a gag order because they have no good intentions toward this woman. And they were hoping that they would be able to get away with what they have been doing for over the past, 18 months, I'm going to say, keeping her isolated, confined under the guise of luxury living. And that let's just talk about it. To be honest with you, you probably don't necessarily have very many people of color, Black folks with that level of money whose freedoms, First Amendment freedoms, have been snatched from them. So listen, they're used to probably a particular demographic that goes along to get along where the kids are in cahoot because the kids get a kickback from their parents' fortune. They didn't realize real quick, yes, I said it, Black folks talk back. We not going to go down without a fight. I wish the hell you would. Now, you may have done that to our ancestors, and you may have thrown them off the ship and over the boat. Okay? But we're going to fight.
Harvey, I've never heard of one. Guys, the issuance of gag orders prohibiting participants in judicial proceedings from speaking to the public or the press about those proceedings is a form of what's known as prior restraint, presumptively invalid under the First Amendment and frequently held to be unconstitutional by lower courts, including the Second Circuit, which is the court that is in New York. It is beyond pale that you can't just issue a broad gag order and just say.
But they did. That means there's a lot of money at stake. And I really would like to know where Wendy's money is going. I did a video of maybe a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, where her net worth has been severely decreased in 12 months? We're talking 15 million. Where is it? Where did it go? But let's continue.
Say, that's what we're doing here. So it's prior restraint on constitutionally protected expression. And there's been so many cases on this. And look, gag orders I guess technically were issued and could be deemed valid in cases where like witnesses' lives were perhaps at risk in organized crime cases or cartel cases where you had, the name of a witness who maybe was at risk or something.
Right. That's why I said something is just off. Listen, listen, something's completely off. I know it's not normal. They're not going to make me accept it. They are treating this woman as if she's a criminal. They're protecting something, but it ain't Wendy. This is like an over aggressive approach to protecting her. When she probably should be protected from them.
Of that effect, or where you really could hinder, an impartial jury, the right to a fair and impartial jury. And again, that's a stretch too. And I've just had that in the ASAP Rocky trial. Okay, the judge initially issued a.
That's it. I just wanted to give you a little bit of what's going on and catch you up with the Wendy Williams saga. And listen, after this, the judge knew she effed up. She knew she made a huge mistake because she granted Wendy permission to go to dinner with Don Lemon. Y'all, this is bizarre. This is crazy. I'll be following. What are your thoughts? Let's take it to the chat.